Hey everyone, welcome back to Citywide Bytes. I'm your host, Max Bowen. Now, a while back, we featured the single Comets by the Boston alt rock duo Arrows of Athena as part of the recent Blackout Collection. Now, Scott Lerner and Jac-Lyn Gibson join me to talk all about the really unique 19th century story that inspired the single. We dive into their recent album release, Daydreaming, which just came out on April 3rd. We talk about them being back on stage for the first time in a while and what's coming up next. Enjoy. Well, Scott, Jacqueline, first off, I just want to say thank you so much for joining me. I've been absolutely loving your recent release comments. I was actually just listening to your new album, Daydreaming.
Thank you.
Amazing stuff.
Thanks so
But
much.
reading about Comet, this is a great story because I read this has a very historical backstory that actually ties into a 19th century Champagne pioneer. Please explain. Please share.
I'll let Jacqueline take that one.
Madame Clicquot. I had to learn how to pronounce her name, but that's where Vive Clicquot Champagne came from, originated from back in, what was it? I don't know the exact year, century.
Long time ago.
Whatever. Anyways, I can't think that clearly right now. Not enough coffee. But I saw the movie. It just happened to show up on Netflix, and it was so interesting to me that I felt like her story had to be told. I love, highlighting any kind of female story of perseverance, and the energy was just there. It was during the beginning of the album when I started to come up with ideas, and before that I had kind of writer's block. Scott had to keep reassuring me, you'll figure it out. Let's work through it. But this story in particular, I mean, I love Champagne. Her she was told no multiple times, and then once she started to go against all odds and started pushing through and creating on her own and pulling away from the naysayers, it was just incredible what she accomplished, and we're still talking about her Champagne this day. So it was an impressive story. So I love a heroine, and I just thought it had to be told. I've never heard of a song about it, and I said, this is it. This is the one for Comets. And it just
I've really never heard really like most music deals with like the artist's life usually. So this was such a great historical story.
Some of that too.
Oh yeah, of course. But I just love that. And now I'm gonna have to go watch this movie now that you mentioned it. I'm so intrigued by it.
Really hit me. Yeah.
Yeah. So how
I
are
always
you
like
able?
that too. Like stories, like songs that have stories that are about something other than just the artist. Like the artist life's great, but this was a cool idea Jacqueline came up with because I'm like, just what it's like kind of like the newspaper. Like I think the band Fastball way back in the '90s, big hit. The guy basically read that story in the newspaper and he like wrote the words, accordingly for that song. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah. So how are you able to kind of tie the historical story in with the music? How did this all like come together?
I think once I presented the idea to Scott, he said, I think that this is the right song for it, just because it sounded very, I don't know, we kind of had if you can think of the way a comet would sound, it just felt like it would just fit so well. I don't know.
It did really.
But it kind of has like a darker undertone to it too, yet very, you know, light at the same time. And I don't know, I felt like those two worlds kind of made sense for this one, because once you do see the movie, you'll see how magical it kind of was, how it came to her, the idea of it, and the comets crashing and the grapevines, and it was just it just kind of, I don't know, it was just one of those moments where it was like, aha, this is the one, this is the right for it.
Yeah. And I also read that the release of the single also actually tied into like your first time on stage in quite a while, where you got to perform for Wave Radio Boston's On the Record showcase in Lowell.
That was great.
Please, what was that like?
Yeah, I mean, I'll start, but basically, both of us had been on stage a long time. I was in the band, The Crushing Love, for years, and we I moved in other directions, like started writing different music, and it was like I kind of basically said to Jacqueline, like, "Hey, we haven't talked a long time. I get this music, and I think it would really fit, what you do from your vibe." And so that's how we kind of started it. But we hadn't played out at all. So the first album we really didn't play out, and then we kind of hooked back up with my Crushing Low bandmates, and they were like, "Yeah, we like the music. We'll absolutely be like this live band." So that's sort of how it started. And then so that was our first show, but you had been on stage a really long time.
Frightening. That's the one word that comes to mind. And it's funny because it wasn't like it was a big arena or anything out of the ordinary. There's just something about that night. I had my kids in the audience. Scott had his kids in the audience. I was almost like my way of proving to my family that this time away from them was worth it. So I had a lot of pressure on myself just because that's how I am. I like to, if I'm going to do something, I want to be, go all in with it. So that night, a lot of people in the room had to talk me down because it was definitely a night. But it was energetic. I'm energized for what's to come. I realized how much I had forgotten about it and just love being on stage. So I think that that's kind of where I'm able to showcase my strength is being on stage. And yeah, it was great.
Having done that, will there be more shows in the future?
We hope so, yes.
Yes. Oh, cool.
We have a few things in the works. Michael had recommended something to us, and another band that we played with in Lowell, they also asked us to play with them in June. So yeah, we've got some things cooking. We got some things cooking right now.
I certainly hope so, because having heard your music, I would love to see this live on stage. And that segues to my next question, which is the sound of Arrows of Athena. I love the blend of sounds you have here. It's very cool. How did you sort of find the sound?
Well,
so I think when I look back on where we've come from and now where we're at, I think Pure Fiction was definitely, that was our first band our first project we did back, I don't know, late 90s, early 2000s. And that was very, very poppy.
Pop rock. More straight
ahead. And I think that once we got together, we were trying to figure things out. We were trying to figure out what kind of sound we wanted. So with Ghost Archives, I felt like we worked through a lot of the kinks. We kind of were all over the place with our sound. I think that's, to be expected because we had just had like a 20-year hiatus.
Yeah, and a lot of that music was written sort of over time. So like, and kind of during COVID and that area. So when I started setting up the studio, I started experimenting and learning and all that and figuring out different sounds and getting into synths and more heavier beats from the drum perspective, and sort of the dance piece of it came out more of a dancey vibe. And that's sort of kind of what I was envisioning, but obviously it changes when you start working with somebody else. But it's I think it's all of our influences too, right?
Yeah, we're kind of all over the place. Yeah. If you were to ask us who our favorite artists are, we love music so much that I think that it kind of varies so much between us. Like I go from like Motown to loving the Sundays to loving, I don't know, Harry Styles, anyone? So I'm kind of all over the map, and then Scott brings in his influences, which was, from the 80s punk era. And
so Echo and the Bunnymen, Black Rebel Motorcycle Club, Interpol, like all the old
he's definitely but you're definitely more
much more rock, I think. So that's where the music is more geared towards. But I also like Foals, and I like bands with like more of that aggressive beat. I like Metric. I like some of the beat oriented stuff. Curve is a huge influence on us for sure. Garbage, I'm sure you can hear the music. And I think that's kind of the vibe we were going for. We don't sit there and listen to a Garbage song or a Curve song and go like, I want to sound exactly like that. No, it's
all of
seeps in, right?
Come together. And I think the sound, I'm pretty proud of it. I think that we've kind of captured exactly what both of our music styles are, and in particular.
Yeah. I just really got the vibe of just like a wonderful collection of different sounds. You're not just one thing or another thing, or all these things come together. And I definitely like the reference to Garbage, because similar in that's also a collection of all these different sounds that just work so well together.
And then we took a shot at some trip hop in there.
Yeah, a little bit trip hop.
Dirty Little Thing.
Same as trip hop.
That one was I was in this trip hop, phase this
She's like, hey,
year.
Trip hop.
I'm like, can you just whip something up?
Yeah, sure. Let me figure out how to do that.
A little bit, and we messed around with that. So I thought it came out pretty cool.
Yeah,
so
fun.
Yeah, we're all, like I said, we're all over the place, which I think is great because the finished product is.
But I think it still sounds like the band.
It still sounds like us.
I
think
it's still the same band. I mean, listen, the way it was back in the day, like the Beatles wrote country songs, and they wrote pop songs, and they wrote darker rock songs, and Zeppelin did the same thing. Like the
We're
Stones
not
did.
opposed to anything.
No, I think this has become
Which is
now
what I think works.
right for sure. I think music now is much more segmented and like you have to be in a box. You have to sound like this, and we're more like let's
We experiment.
Why not? Let's see what this sounds like, or
Yeah,
why not? I mean, that's the whole
And it's
beauty of
fun.
music.
It's fun.
It is fun, exactly.
It's fun.
exactly. All right. So let us talk about Daydreaming. This is your second album. It came out just the other day. I was listening to it this morning and really, really loving it. But for the folks who have yet to catch this one, what can they expect?
Oh boy. I think you're gonna. I hope there's some surprises in it because
I think there's a lot of surprises.
It starts. Abandoned Love is a little bit darker, and then but then there's stuff in there that's more like more pop oriented. Maybe.
There's a little love ditty in there.
Yeah,
We've
for
got
sure.
Just You and Me. That one's like more lighthearted love song kind of song that I came up with. Again, the trip hop tribute to with Dirty Little Sin.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of 90s
Yeah.
feels in there,
Sure.
90s vibes. I was a teenager in the 90s. I talk about it a lot because it was just such a great time. And it's so funny how now, full circle, how the 90s are just like, it's like the time that all the kids are referencing. My daughter wants to raid my closet now, which is
It's hysterical.
quite a moment. So, she thinks mom stuff's cool again. So yeah, I think that there's a lot of little moments in this album that just capture you. I don't know. Mike said the same thing, our publicist. He said, there's just lots of tiny, like just good moments in this album,
That's
like
good.
really good. So yeah, I think it's yummy. Personally.
That's a great review. That's
Yummy.
a wonderful review. Yummy.
It's
yummy.
Quick side note, mentioning like the 90s bands. I'm always amazed by how many are still playing.
Oh yeah,
they're still playing. They're still touring. They're still making new music. It's a wonderful thing to see.
They all like money. I think that's the thing. And there's bands that have come back. They haven't played in 30 years, and they're like Quicksand. I saw Quicksand last year, right?
Yeah,
they were great in the 90s, and I'm like, Quicksand is back. Like they're like, yeah, we need money. We're just gonna tour and make a few.
I'm hoping the Sundays will come out of hiding. That's like one of my favorites of all time. So I'm just putting it out there. Maybe some good vibes for them.
Yeah, if they happen to be like listening to the show, you guys come on back.
It would be.
Never know.
I remember last year, The Offspring played a show. I thought they're still playing. Okay, cool.
Crazy.
And if they had kids and the kids wanted to perform band, they call the Offspring's Offspring.
Brilliant.
Marketing standpoint.
You've been working on that material for a while. I can tell.
Too long, I think. Too long. Anyway, back to your music. So this is, as I mentioned, your second album, your first one, The Ghost Archives, which is an amazing album name, by the way. How would you say Arrows of Athena has kind of changed since the debut album came out?
Oh boy.
I think The Ghost Archives, we had a lot of loss, Scott and I, in those years. And
that's kind of why it was titled that. Honestly.
Yeah, it was titled Ghost Archives because of the ones that had passed in our lives and a lot of heartache in that album. It was very cathartic for both of us. I think now with Daydreaming, I do feel like
kind of coming out of
it. It's kind of us seeing the light, that there's other goodness in our lives, and there's things that we want to talk about that isn't so dark, and we don't want everything to be so sad. Right. So I think that that's kind of what Daydreaming is representing for us, is just kind of tucking that away. It's still there. The grief is still there, and just how we all handle grief differently. And but it's time to also highlight the goodness in our lives. So I think that's kind of what Daydreaming has been about.
And sometimes like music, I mean, I think like it's the time in the life to pivot off what you just said, like the Ghost Archives is one point of time. This is a different point of time, and we have different feelings and vibes and all this. We all have jobs and families and all that stuff. So I think it depending upon where you are, it's going to influence your music and your lyric writing and your storytelling, right? But now it's, we're not going to get political, but things are dark and people really want to have something to kind of push them out of that. And hopefully this helps, and hopefully other music like that helps as well. So. Yeah,
agreed. Is there any one song on Daydreaming that really connects with you personally? I'm sure they all do in different ways, but does one kind of stand out?
I'm going to say two for me. I think Abandoned Love and Comets are my two. I've had favorites on the album. I mean, I love all of them, but I think those two for me because they're more I guess they're more rock based, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I lean towards, but they're all great. I love all of them, and in different ways. Dirty Little Sin's awesome.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, they're all special in their own little way.
they really are.
I think I would say like Comets for me. I felt like once we recorded that song, we both kind of had this aha moment. Like this is where we are, right? Like this, it was almost like we came together, like our chemistry. I don't know, something happened with that song
for sure.
where like I felt like there was a full circle moment, like wow, where we really know what we're doing, I think. We felt it. It was one of those songs that we just really felt.
We don't know what we're doing.
We don't know what we're doing. But
we
like to fake it.
Exactly.
Fake it till we make it.
Exactly.
But I think for me, Tied Up in Knots is even though it was the last song on the album, it was kind of like tucked in at the end. I think that one for me kind of represents my life right now. It's the fleeting moments with my children growing up. I have 3 teenagers now. I'm doing my own thing. I'm going back to music. It's just like one of those full circle moments where I feel like that really is the one that resonates with me the most in this album. It's not in your face, but
no, it's
I don't think I'm in people's like I'm kind of a quiet person. Go figure. But it's one of those songs that's just very close to my heart. Don't you start with me. So yeah, I would say Tied Up in Knots for me.
Yeah, I like that. All right. Now, I love the name Arrows of Athena. That is a great band name. Where'd it come from?
My sister is a Latin teacher.
Oh.
And she loves all the gods and goddesses. And I was just reaching out to my sister on a little group text before right when Scott and I were trying to figure out the band name. And I'm like, guys, I can't figure it out. I'm pulling you guys in to help me. And my sister said, she's like, well, I think Athena's arrows would be cool. She's like, Athena's a goddess of war. She's a warrior princess. She was, a badass essentially, and overcame quite a bit and underestimated. And I said, I love Athena. I love arrows. And my older boy, I said, what do you think of Athena's arrows? And he said, Arrows of Athena. And I said, yes.
So she texted me and I'm like, that's it.
That's it. It just felt powerful and
it made sense.
Made sense.
Yeah, it works. It works.
Cool. Glad you like it. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So we are coming down to the end of this conversation, but we're going to wrap things up with, of course, the big question is, what is next for you?
Okay. So obviously, hopefully playing out more.
Yep.
And also working on the 3rd album, which, believe it or not, the music's already written. So she's like, you stop. But I think usually, when I get in a groove, I just go, right? Because you don't want to get writer's block. Sometimes I write stuff and I'm like, that's garbage, and I never use that. But at least I have to kind of go through the whole process of writing it and recording it and all that, and then put it to the side. Don't use it again. That's cool.
So basically right now he has how many songs in my inbox?
12. So there's 12, like the music's done.
Oh boy.
Basically what we do is
She's got some work to do.
She's got some work to do.
I've got some work to do.
I think usually it's kind of like the schedule, right? We record, she does obviously all the storytelling and lyrics and melodies, amazing singing. Then I mix for 4 years. And
pretty much.
And then and then it comes out and then we start over. It's like the schedule, but it's not on purpose. It's not like we're doing this we need to be at this date or that date or that date. It's just kind of the way it's been working.
It's mostly when I feel I have like some kind of inspiration to just write to finish up a song. I'll reach out to him and then we'll schedule it. We lock ourselves in his basement studio. We don't come out until the song has got a good backbone, and we just kind of work on it for a couple of sessions, and it just comes together. I don't know. Scott and I have great chemistry.
Yeah.
I think that was the big thing about me coming back to music was, knowing that Scott and I always could write a song together. We have something special, I'd like to say.
I would say so.
Agreed. All right. Well, folks, we have given you the full story behind this wonderful band. Now, here's what you do. You go to arrowsofathena.com. Everything is there. Get your copy of Comets, amazing single. Get your copy of Daydreaming. It's just come out, people. As of the day this recording is out, it's been out for less than 24 hours. So give it a listen. You're going to love it. Big thanks go to Michael Murata for helping to put this whole thing together. Amazing person, great to work with. Glad to have you out there. And Jac-Lyn Gibson, Scott Lerner, thank you so much for joining me, and cannot wait for our next time we talk.
You got it. Thanks, Max. Really appreciate
it. Thank you.
You're very welcome. And for the listeners, for the viewers, thank you once again for checking this show out. This has been Citywide Bytes. I'm your host, Max Bone, and I'll see you all next time.